How's it going, everyone? My name is Pete Nasazi. I'm a certified sports nutrition coach and personal trainer, and today we're going to be talking about the best protein powders for muscle gain. So if we think about protein, it's basically the building blocks for the muscles in our body. Our bodies are basically able to use the protein that we take in, convert them into amino acids, and then use those amino acids to basically build up our own muscles, right? In general, it's recommended to get anywhere from about 10 to 35% of your calories from protein alone, right? This is gonna be for overall health and well-being, right? Because protein is not just essential for building muscles, but it's also essential for producing the hormones that we have in our body. It is one of the 3 main macronutrients that we need to survive. However, if we do have these muscle building goals, then we do want to get a set amount of protein. Adding a protein powder into your diet may be a great way to do so. The conventional bodybuilding-esque wisdom is you're looking for about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And this process doesn't mean that if you just eat more protein, if you consume more protein, you're gonna naturally build more muscle, because that's not technically what's happening, right? You need to be actually in a caloric surplus. I like to relate this to building a house, right? If you don't have the materials, right? The lumber, the brick, the cement, right? If you don't have those materials coming in dietary sense, the protein, the carbs, the fats, you're not gonna actually be able to build any muscle. So if you are familiar with protein powder, then you likely know that there's lots of different protein powders on the market, right? And so we're thinking about finding the optimal protein powder for muscle gain. There's a couple things you may want to consider, right? So the first is going to be whether you want a animal-based or plant-based protein powder, and that's likely going to be dependent on your kind of overall nutrition philosophy, the types of foods that you want to eat on a daily basis. The second is whether you want a high-quality protein that's low in calories, or an overall calorie-dense protein powder that has a lot of extra nutrients, whether that's vitamins, minerals, extra carbohydrates, extra fat, stuff like that. You may want to use a protein isolate, which is typically higher in protein, lower in overall calories because it has less carbohydrates and fats. On the other hand, you could be looking at something like a protein concentrate, which is going to be slightly higher in calories, even up to something like a mass gainer, right? Where they purposefully add a bunch of calories so that you're actually able to get into that caloric surplus that you need to build high quality muscle. If you're constantly working out and you notice that your muscles are incredibly sore, you're super run down, you're super lethargic the next day, then it's a really good sign that you're probably not getting the recovery that you need and you're not getting an adequate amount of protein through your diet. Adding that protein powder, making sure that you're hitting your daily protein goals, that's gonna be the best way to actually get that muscle growth.